Boy, has it been an interesting last 30 days here in the real estate market in Bellingham and all of Whatcom County. Hey everyone, this is Aldo here with the Levain real estate team in Bellingham, and this is the Living in Bellingham YouTube channel. So if you're new to here, make sure you like and subscribe and make sure you follow, because every single week I do post a new video. And in this video, I am talking about the market update for the month of July. So I'm comparing last year's numbers to this year's numbers. Yes, this video is released in August, but we don't have August numbers yet because we haven't obviously gone through the month. So I am going to go ahead and compare July of 2025 to July of 2024. So let's get straight into the numbers. So for the average sold price here for Whatcom County was $671,000, and that's down 4% from last year, which was $699,000 last year in the month of July. Now, this doesn't really showcase a lot of data because the last 3 or 4 months, the home prices have been pretty much the same, maybe up or down within 1% or 2%. Usually if it was higher than the previous month, it's usually about 2%, but this is the first month in the last maybe since January or December that homes have fallen, or that the average home sold price has been lower than last year. So I'm not really too worried. It's not really showing that home prices have fallen 4% whatsoever. It'd be good to know the next few months whether or not that trend does happen to go down. If you're taking away last year and you're just looking at the trend for this year and not comparing to last year, we are starting to see that line that it is coming down. So relatively last year, we're still somewhat up for the year, but this year, if you take away last year, we are starting to see the last 3 or 4 months, the average sold price just coming down just very, very slightly. And it's getting a little bit lower than the previous months. Now, a big surprise that I saw when I'm looking at these numbers is the average home sold price here in Bellingham has dropped 10% for the month of July, which was $775,000 this year compared to $861,000 last year in the month of July. Again, yes, that's a big drop. So I would say that has some weight to do with it. You know, we have started to see that home sales have been slowing down. So that number there is quite high. And there's no denying that we are in a buyer's market, and the fact that home prices, again, I don't know if I'm yet to agree that home prices are falling in Bellingham, because there's still some houses, especially in the core neighborhoods, that are going for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 over asking price. And then there's some that have been sitting on the market. So that was Bellingham for the month of July versus last year. Now for inventory, we are seeing that inventory is still rather high. In my last video, we did crest over 1,000 homes for sale in Whatcom County, where right now we are at 1,084 homes, which is still an increase of about 46% from last year in the month of July. So the last 3 or 4 months, we've started seeing that inventory has been climbing. So I did say this last month. So now again, another month in July, we actually have seen more homes this month than last month. Obviously not by a whole much, but we are almost to that 1,100 mark, which again, if you didn't visit last month's video, in the first time since I have been a real estate agent, and it's been a decade now, the availability of homes have reached over 1,000 houses in Whatcom County, which is crazy. So for Bellingham's inventory, we're sitting right now at 325 houses available to purchase, where last year was 164 homes available, which is crazy. So Bellingham has pretty much doubled in inventory, which is pretty crazy, which we haven't seen again in a long, long time. And the amount of houses that have pended or have actually sold in Whatcom County is pretty much the same. We've seen the sales there. And for the homes sold that have actually closed in the month of July, about the same. It's about 285 to 295 houses from last year and this year. So that change hasn't been very dramatic. Like we've seen that 10% drop in the average sold price. So we have seen that sales are pretty much about the same from what we've seen last year. For the months of inventory, for those of you that don't know, if we were to stop listing any houses right now, how long would it take for us to sell all those houses on the market? Whatcom County is 2.7 months. And again, for the first time since I've been a real estate agent in 10 years, Bellingham now has a 3-month supply of inventory. So I try to go back as far as I can. and the stats wouldn't show much farther than about 2014, and up until those dates we haven't seen 3 months of inventory in the city of Bellingham, which to me is just showing that we do have quite a bit of inventory and that sales are pretty much the same as last year. So I think, in my opinion, what that means to you, I think a lot of people are still scared of interest rates, even though rates have come down and they've been the lowest that they've been in about almost 11 months or so. So right now it's August 20th or so, and the rates are sitting about 6.5%. Obviously, it's gonna vary depending on how much you put down, what your credit score is, so on and so forth. But for being at 6.5% compared to 5 months ago, it was at 6.9%, that's still rather good. Now, my fear of what might happen is that if rates do come down more and more, we're gonna start seeing some buyers start coming into the marketplace. And especially because Bellingham is the hot spot, if you're gonna start competing with people who can now afford at 5.85 or 5.85% and maybe buying down your rate to a 5.6, and if you're trying to compete in those markets, in those core neighborhoods, it's gonna be difficult if you're gonna wait, because there's people right now that don't care about a 6.5% and that they are bidding $20,000 or $30,000 more. Now again, this is maybe only happening in 20% of the market that we're seeing in Bellingham. Outside of Bellingham, we are not seeing that. So Ferndale, Linden, Blaine, all those cities, Everson, you're not getting over asking price. Homes are sitting, and that really is showing what our market is like. Obviously, the central hub is in Bellingham. So speaking more on that inventory, so the average days on market here in Whatcom County has gone from 32 days to about 37 days. So that's what the average home is selling in Whatcom County. In Bellingham though, it's gone from 21 days to about 33 days. Now that's, when you think about 33 days on market, that's still not that long. But when you're comparing from 21 to 32 or to 33 days, that shows me, and that tells a lot of my clients, like, we need to prepare to be on the market for at least minimum of 30 to 45 days. When I first started in real estate in 2016, that was the average, was about 35 days on market. Everybody has gotten so used to, back in 2021 and 2022, when homes would just sell over the weekend. Again, yes, you still see some homes doing that, but majority houses, even in Bellingham, are gonna sit for 32 days, 40 days, maybe even up to 60 days. And it all has to do, in my opinion, on the marketing and on price. A lot of sellers think it's 2021, and a lot of buyers think it's 2008. Buyers are scared because they think their market's crashing. Sellers still think they're gonna be able to get top dollar for their house back in 2021, and that's not true whatsoever. And I think it's really hard sitting down with a buyer or a seller to let them know the realities of what this market is in. Which brings me up the list to sell ratio. So what do homes list for and what do they sell for? So again, for the first time probably all year, the list price to sale price in Bellingham is about 98%. So meaning if you list your house for $500,000, you're gonna be able, on average, you are selling it for 2% less. So maybe $490,000, right? Which to me still isn't that much, but it goes to show when all the other months are usually 101, 102, 100, whatever the list price ratio, 102%, meaning 500,000, you're now gonna go and sell for 510,000, but now it's shifting to where now it's 490,000. So there is a swing where you would have gotten $20,000 more. Well, now you might only get 10 grand less. And those are the realities of what we're living in. A lot of the people that are also selling in today's market have bought their houses 4 or 5 plus years ago, which you're sitting on quite a bit of equity, which is really, really nice. The people that are struggling to sell their house and that are holding tight on the prices, on their sale price, maybe about a year or two ago where their equity hasn't grown, so they might be losing some money. But if you're selling your house and you've bought it 5 or 6, 7 plus years ago, you're still coming out nice. There's no reason to try to stay firm on your price, because it's just gonna hold the market at a different value, and you're gonna be trying to get what people don't wanna be paying for your home, so you might as well price drop. And that is the biggest frustration right now in our market when I'm dealing with sellers on trying to get them to sell their home, is your house is only worth what a buyer is willing to pay for. And if we're on the market for 60 days and a buyer's not willing to pay, you know, whatever, $700,000 for your house, then your house isn't worth that, even after 10, 15 plus showing. So just make sure you keep that in mind if you're looking to sell your house. Sometimes it's nice to be listened to, especially myself. I've been in real estate for 10 years. I'm highly experienced. I'm very knowledgeable on all the stats, on the techniques and strategies to help sell your house. So even if you're watching this video and you're not using me, totally fine, but at least take some advice that I'm giving you guys and put it into your home, because if your purpose is to trying to sell your house, then you need to know what the reality is. And if you're looking at buying, guess what? Interest rates are just not dropping very, very quickly. They're gonna start coming down very slowly, but the difference between a 6.5 and a 6.3% interest rate isn't a whole lot. So if you're waiting for that moment, it's really not coming. If you're waiting for 6%, you might be waiting till next year. Again, that's bringing out more buyers. But that is the market stats here for Whatcom County and for Bellingham. Leave the comments down below on what you want to know more about, but I want to start transitioning into some exciting things that are coming to Bellingham that don't really necessarily have to do with real estate, but Chick-fil-A is finally coming here to Bellingham, and they just broke ground. They're located on the corner of Bakerview and Cordata Parkway, which is right behind or right beside, I guess, the Bells Fair Mall, which is off Bakerview, which is really nice. It's been years in the making, and it's finally happening. And what that shows me is that these larger companies like Chipotle, like Chick-fil-A, a lot of these big mainstream fast food chains that are coming to Bellingham, they're starting to see that our area is getting bigger and that the demand is here. Now, my favorite, I hope and I wish that In-N-Out Burger will come here. It may not come for some time because we just had the very first one open in Washington, and it was down south in some random ass city, which I don't even know why it got opened up there, but whatever. Anyways, Chick-fil-A is going there, and Dutch Bros is actually, they did file some permits here maybe about a year ago that would be right across from Chick-fil-A. Things didn't really go the way it was planned, so they're still trying to figure out the location, but Dutch Bros is trying to come here to Bellingham, and it may be a few more years until things actually get finalized, but it shows us, again, Bellingham, that there is these high demand in some of these big chain restaurants or chain fast food places, that they're seeing the value in Bellingham. And again, people are moving here. So if that is you guys, again, my name is Aldo. I'm a local realtor here in Bellingham. I've been here pretty much my whole entire life. If you're looking at moving here and relocating here, we also have a really great relocation guide, and I know I've never mentioned that, so I do apologize, but we do have one. So if you ever want one, reach out to us, text us, email us, leave a comment down below, and we'll be able to reach out to you guys. So again, guys, my name's Aldo, a local realtor here with the Levain real estate team at Windermere in Bellingham and all of Whatcom County. So if you're looking at moving here, reach out to us. Even if you're 6 months away, it takes some time, and most of the people that we do help, we meet a year in advance, sometimes maybe a few months in advance, but it's good to do a FaceTime or do a Zoom, whatever it may be, to answer more questions about what it's like living here in Bellingham, because these videos are great, but it doesn't go in depth into some of the things that are important to you guys. So again, if there is something that is important that I haven't gone over in some of these videos, drop a comment down below. And again, guys, my name's Aldo, and we'll see you next time.